Alright guys, what's up? Welcome to my review for EA Sports PGA Tour. So the long and short of it is I'm really enjoying EA Sports PGA Tour so far, but is it perfect? Absolutely not. We're going to dive in to where it shines and where it comes up short in this full review. If you want to buy some merch, this is the brand new merch. You can do so. First link in the description. But let's get into this review. So I've put about 30 to 35 hours into the game already, so I think I have a fairly good idea of the game, but I might come back to this once I've completed a career mode season and they have done updates to the game and stuff like that. We'll see. We might have to do like an updated review at some point. But yeah, we're going to discuss every mode today, what they do right, what they do wrong in the first EA golf game in over 8 years. Now, I do believe that this game is a massive step up from Rory McIlroy, but the game is also competing with the 2K franchise now as well. And I think there's a lot of places where it's actually a lot more in-depth and content heavy than the latest iteration of PGA Tour 2K23, but there's also a few areas where they come up short in comparison, mainly online. So right off the bat, let's dive into the first portion of this review. So we're going to go through all the modes, we're going to go through the gameplay, we're going to go through the graphics and the music and stuff like that. So right off the bat, let's dive into the gameplay, because I know that's where the bread and butter of video games is. So let's do this thing. The gameplay in EA Sports PGA Tour is gonna feel slow at first, especially if you're used to playing PGA Tour 2K23. But the more you play, the better it gets, in my opinion. And I've had a lot of people saying the same thing to me. They were put off at first by how slow it is, but once you get used to it, it's great. I've had a lot of comments like that and a lot of different people explaining it to me like that as well. But let me start off by explaining the mechanics. So it's basically the same as 2K in that you pull the right or left stick back and forward to complete your swing, and you have overswing and fast and slow like 2K as well. Now, I will say right off the bat, I do find it a little easy to hit fairways even on the hardest difficulty, but I was playing a lot of courses with kind of wide open fairways to start, so it's hard to really tell. But I don't think it's that easy to go crazy offline off the tee is what I'm saying, even if you're hitting like 1%, 2% fast, which is not the best swing in the world, but it still feels like you'll hit maybe the right side of the fairway or the left side of the fairway if you do that. But overall, I find that the game is really challenging. Getting approach shots close is difficult, and you have to play the course how it's designed to be played to make it work. And that's the thing I really love the most about this game. Every course plays completely differently. You can go to the wetlands and your drives will roll out 5 to 10 yards maximum, compared to St. Andrews, where you can go and get anywhere from 50 to 100 yards of rollout because of how firm the course is rather. Like at the wetlands, you have to play a little low punchy shot to even avoid your balls with a wedge spinning like 20 yards back. The course physics in this game really make you think out every shot, and the amount of different shot types you have to work your way around the course is great. And with the course physics as well, I feel like there's certain scenarios that just feel like true golf. Like your ball will like catch the front of the green and it'll like zip back a little bit and it'll end up trickling off and going into a bunker like it would on these real professional courses. Where in 2K, I feel like even the downhill putts are like near on impossible to stop in certain scenarios, and it just feels a little bit unrealistic. I feel like EA nailed that feeling of being like realistic with the way that the ball reacts on greens in certain scenarios, but then other ones like the spin will kind of look a little bit off. It'll like hit the green and almost spin back instantaneously rather than actually hitting the green, reacting and then spinning. There's certain scenarios like that anyway, but overall I feel like it does a really good job with the course physics. You'll have approach shots, finesse, punch, knockdown, power approach from the fairway and around the green. There's a whole multitude of ways to play your shots to suit the course and type of shot you have. You'll have flops, high flop, long flop, runners, spinners, pitch, chip, and the best thing about it is I find myself actually using all these different shot types too. You'll get into situations where all of them will come in handy. You'll really need to use your full arsenal of shot types to work your way around the golf course. Now, course physics aren't perfect. You'll often see shots from the heavy rough getting more spin than you'd expect, and for flop shots, your character doesn't even really open up the club face or its stance. But overall, in 2K23, I feel like the base mechanics are more in-depth and more challenging gameplay-wise, but I never really find myself needing to use different shot types. I just find myself in automatic mode most of the time nowadays, and that might be because I've played the game for 8 months straight and that I'm used to it. There's no denying 2K's gameplay with 60 FPS is smoother. I feel like they kind of both succeed in their own right. 2K makes it challenging with the tempo being really hard to master, and you're battling that every time you go out onto the course, while the tempo, especially for approach shots, in EA does affect the shots, it's never going to be as severe as it is in 2K. The challenge in EA is more picking the right shot type, trying to get it to stop on a firm course by playing a high fade with a certain shot type, or trying to get it not to spin too much on a wetlands course by playing a lower ball flight like I mentioned earlier. I think just overall mastering the courses in EA Sports PGA Tour is the real challenge, and it's not easy to do at all. I've been struggling to break par on a lot of the tougher courses, and I've been shooting over par rounds multiple times, and I've played the game now for 30 to 35 hours and I'm still struggling. Like, the harder courses just play straight difficult. I think -7 is actually my current best round with Ian Poulter. So I think my least favorite aspect of the gameplay in EA Sports PGA Tour is the putting. I feel like that's where it falls short in comparison to 2K the most. I feel like 2K just nails the feel of the putting. You don't get the exact power of the putting. It doesn't have that little bar to the side. Well, you can have that on, but you can actually turn it off in 2K as well if you want to. And putting is much more feel based in PGA Tour 2K23 compared to EA Sports. Like in EA Sports PGA Tour, you set the distance with the white marker, and then you just have to pull it back to the white line to get the right distance. Now, I will say that, like, in EA Sports PGA Tour, you're worrying about 3 things rather than 2. In 2K, you really only have to worry about the pace and the direction. In EA Sports PGA Tour, you have to worry about both of those things, and then the tempo affects the putts as well. Now, you don't have to worry about the distance as much, as I said, because you basically just put the marker in the right spot, but that's not easy to judge sometimes as well. But overall, the putting, it doesn't feel great. Some of the lines definitely feels like the beads on the greens are going the wrong way. You get ghost breaks, similar to the fact that you get those in 2K as well. But overall, the putting mechanic, not my favorite, but hopefully they add a mode in maybe where you can turn off that putting bar at some point as well. Now, getting back to the difficulty discussion, if you want to play on arcade or pro, it makes it a much easier experience, and that option is there for the casual audience. Like, 100% arcade and pro are going to be very scoreable. But on the difficulty that I'm playing, it's not a game where you can just shoot lights out like I saw a lot of people being scared of. It's absolutely not like that. I do have everything pretty much set to the hardest difficulty though. I have the grain grids on, but I have a lot of the visual aids turned off, and I think overall that just makes for a much cleaner experience as well, because I feel like the HUD when you're playing can be quite overwhelming and off-putting. I think I've turned off the white swing arc and the blue line and shot tracer, and it just makes overall for a much more enjoyable experience visually. And I'm hoping eventually we get the option of a dynamic HUD as well, because even turning those options off, I find myself still being distracted by how much is there on the screen. So yeah, overall, I do think that the gameplay mechanics are pretty decent in EA Sports PGA Tour. Yes, it feels slow from time to time, but I think the 60 FPS update will definitely help that and help it feel a little bit smoother when that does come. But for now, I'm enjoying my time with the gameplay and working my way around the course. As I said, working your way around the course is the best part of the gameplay in my opinion. The swing itself, you can make it faster on your own character. There's like multiple different options. You can change your swing type as well, which is great to have some customization options there. But yeah, set it to fastest if you're used to 2K23, and that will be like the one that's closest to that. I mean, the swing in 2K23 is fast. It's really fast. Honestly, I feel like one in the middle would probably be about right, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like overall I'm enjoying the swing, and I don't feel like it's as clunky as a lot of people are saying. I'm actually enjoying it. It's a little bit clunky, but I don't think it's like unmanageable or anything. And the more you play, the more you do get used to it. It's tough going back to 2K23 and trying to play 2K23 after, though. You're overswinging everything, and you're like hitting way fast and way slow, and everything. Your tempo is just shot to hell. So switching between the two games might be quite difficult. So now, let's talk about the career mode, and this is 100% to me the strongest part of this game by a long shot. You can start off as an amateur, play a few of the major courses before moving on to Q School and eventually the PGA Tour as well. Now, the presentation, the branding, and the commentary are all great in career mode. The whole flyovers, the perfect branding, especially for the majors, and the actual relevant commentary make for a more in-depth career mode than we've seen in a very long time golfing-wise. And to add to that, you've got AI playing partners and hundreds of challenges that you can try and master to unlock gear and XP as well. In this career mode, I don't feel like I'm going tournament to tournament like in 2K, and the AI playing partners work really well, except when you're playing with Scotty Scheffler, weirdly. He's the only AI playing partner that I've had in career mode that doesn't work properly. And I'm not the only one saying that either. I've had multiple reports that Scotty's scoring doesn't get put in right when you're playing with him, and it's only Scotty Scheffler. But I believe they are working on a fix for that. When it's not Scotty, the AI actually plays really well and realistically too. They make mistakes, but they will also make a lot of birdies too. And it'll be kind of randomized what they do. It won't just be like 2K where the highlights of the pro is just them holding out from the bunker every single time. I actually find it fun to play alongside them and see the way that they play. The only issue that I've really had with the AI is when they have like a 5-inch or less putt, it will look a little unnatural when they have a tap in. Sometimes they'll aim like way left on a tap in and it just looks super strange and they're like really kind of tap it in there. But yeah, that's really the only issue that I've had with AI outside of Scotty Scheffler. And the challenges in this game, man, not just in career mode, but actually especially in career mode, are addicting. You'll have brands like Nike, Ping, Cobra with quite a few different challenges for you to take on. You can get 1 to 3 stars on all of these challenges and will get rewards for completing them. Now, I got a Ping Fairway Wood from one of the reward packs that I got for completing a bunch of their challenges, which was real nice. And overall, these challenges are tough, especially playing on the hardest difficulty. Some of them are downright impossible until you upgrade your guy. So don't get too frustrated if you can't do some of them right off the bat. And even the challenges outside of career mode, like doing the Masters challenges as Bubba Watson and stuff like that, they are so satisfying when you finally complete them. You might have seen my short on my TikTok or when I was even streaming, I did the Bubba Watson challenges and you had to hole 7 putts in a row. And it genuinely took me like 50 tries to get it. When we finally got it on stream, I was so hyped. I was so excited. And yeah, they just makes you really feel accomplished when you do complete these challenges because of how difficult some of them are. So yeah, overall, I think career mode is a smash hit. Definitely the mode that they put the most effort and love into, and you can see that 100%. It shows, and career mode has been done very well in a golf video game for the first time in a long time. Next up, I just wanted to quickly touch on quick play before I transition to online, as I think it makes the most sense to do it this way. Quick play is really great for single player stuff or playing with a friend in the same house as you. There's every mode you can think of, including alt shot, foursomes, 4-ball, skins, match play, and more. You can play as all the pros. I think there's 20 plus pros in the game, including quite a few live golfers actually. But I was setting up awesome foursome matches like my live versus PGA series that is actually going on my channel right now, and playing AI even in this mode as the pros and with the pros is really fun. I feel like the list of pros in this game is really good. Hopefully they'll add more as we go. The list of courses in this game is really good. They got 30 courses and like 24 pros at launch. That's a stellar number, and if they're going to keep adding to this game, I think that's a really good starting point. Also, I did want to say that the foursomes mode that I was doing did have a couple of scoring bugs as well for some reason. Like when I won a hole, it would still say the other team was one up even if I had just won the hole and got it back to all square. That happened maybe 2-3 times throughout my time playing foursomes. But that does lead us to transition to the online, and none of these modes that I mentioned are available online at launch. Literally, the only available online mode is stroke play. That's just straight up unacceptable on launch, and I'm hoping that we get all these modes added to online ASAP. And that's not to say that some of these stroke play events online aren't fun, by the way, because they are, but you need more than that. The fact that I can't even play a match play in a private match with my friend is just silly. Okay, so let's split these online modes up to talk about them. Not even going to talk about the social because I don't think it's worth it. I don't care about that mode. I'm not sure many others do, honestly. So we're going to start with competitive. So the competitive mode that I've played about 3 hours of so far, it can be stroke play up to 15 players in your lobby, 16 players total including yourself. They have a lobby for pro difficulty, tour difficulty, and arcade. I think the ones that were set up at the moment, there's an 18-hole arcade one. There is a 9-hole tour one, which is just 9 holes random course, completely random course. I think it can be any course, honestly. And then they have a 3-hole amen corner one on pro difficulty, which was actually quite fun. But I know people have been struggling with server issues to find games, but when I was streaming, me and my audience actually all searched at the same time to try and get a full lobby. Mainly it split us into 2 different lobbies of like 5 to 6 people, but I think the most we got in there was like 8 at one time. But generally didn't have any issues finding a game and never disconnected or had server issues, which was a good sign, 100%. I don't think anyone in our games disconnected either. But then basically once you do get going, it's a 9-hole shootout to see who gets the lowest stroke play score. You can see everyone else on the course as you're playing simultaneously, which I actually think is a really cool feature. Like, you can see them on the green putting after you finished, and you can kind of see them on the course with you as well. But basically how the leaderboards work is if you beat 7 other people in the lobby and lose to 1, you'll get 7 wins and 1 loss, which I think is a really cool way to do it. So you can climb the leaderboards a lot quicker if you're in full lobbies. And there's also split leaderboards for each difficulty too. I think I got myself into the top 10 in the world on the all difficulties leaderboard. I think I got to like maybe 14 wins and 2-3 losses or something like that. But overall, I do think competitive is a letdown, and the fact that there's no real proper ranking system or head-to-head match play online is a real shame. But it did take 2K a while to add that in as well, so hopefully EA can at some point soon. So next up, let's talk about tournaments. I think this is 100% the best online mode in EA Sports PGA Tour. They're kind of akin to societies in 2K, but they're different as well because they're not society-based, or sorry, they're not community-based. EA will basically have daily, weekly, and seasonal tournaments that you can compete in versus other players, and you get reward packs based on where you finish in these tournaments as well. So as an example, I finished T98 in the Masters seasonal tournament, and I actually ended up getting 80,000 coins, which is insane. That's kind of a rough estimate of what you can expect, but they pay out results, or they pay out rewards based on what percentile you'll finish in. Like, if you finish in the top 5 to 15%, you'll get like 80,000 coins like I did in that seasonal tournament. But overall, basically the way that it works is that you take part in these daily tournaments to win tickets, which you can use to enter the weekly tournaments, and then you get reward packs based on that as well. So I find these tournaments to overall be a really good challenge on tour difficulty. They have them on every difficulty. They have them on arcade, they have them on pro, they have them on tour. I wish there was maybe one with even more difficult settings, but I shot even par in both the Masters tournaments I played with my guy, so I'm not going to say it was like too easy or anything. I was definitely still struggling, but I'm sure the more I level up my guy, the easier it will make these tournaments as well. I can definitely see myself getting quite involved in these though each week and trying to beat my friends on the leaderboards, because like just seeing Respawn's name on the seasonal tournament made me want to do that much better. I ended up tying him, of course, so that rematch has to come soon. We tied online, we tied in the tournament, now we need that rematch. Come on Respawn, I know you're ducking me, let's do this thing. Now let's talk about private matches. As I said, I am bitterly disappointed I can't play all shot match play or any of that with my friends, but I will say I set up a match with like 10 to 12 people on stroke play at Lighthouse Point, and we just had an absolute blast. Seeing everyone else on screen and just having a blast with viewers like that was really, really fun. And the servers so far on private matches have worked incredibly well. I haven't had to restart the match once, haven't had any issues with anyone getting disconnected, even in the big lobby matches, like I said. Now, I will say private matches other than that need a lot of work, because on top of the lack of modes, there's no option of turn order, and there's no way to set the difficulty for the lobby, which I think is silly. And also on top of that, only the host can play as a pro for some reason. Everyone else joining has to use their created character, which is just silly. So as I said, there's potential for fun here, but they need to fix a lot of stuff within the online side of things, especially the private matches. And lastly, on the online side of things, let's talk about the online store. I haven't really delved too heavily into this myself, but it seems like there's no pay to win mechanics, which is great. The fittings, or the blueprints as you call them, you can only get by paying for them with in-game currency, and there's no way to exchange your in-game currency for real-world money according to Respawn, which is great. So you can of course buy cosmetic items with the real-world money, which is par for the course, but that's fine. So far I like what I've seen in the store and bought a few clothing and equipment items from there myself, and I feel like a quick way to get coins is by playing in those tournaments, because as I said, if you can finish pretty high up in some of those tournaments, you can get a lot of coins for it. So you can go to the store and buy whatever it may be for 80,000. Like, nothing costs 80,000. I think the clubs cost like 3,500. The drivers do, the irons do. So you could buy yourself a whole set for just finishing in the top 5 to 15% of a tournament. Now that might not be too easy if you're not as really talented as I am, you know, because I'm just as good as it gets. but you'll still get a decent amount of coins for finishing top 50 or whatever it may be in those tournaments, I assume. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. But let's talk about the performance. Let's talk about the graphics. So let's jump in. The performance and the graphics. First, right off the bat, this game is absolutely stunning, and the courses are done in beautiful detail. The character models can look a little weird at times, but I think some of them look a lot better than others. Like, I think DJ and Joaquin Neiman look really good, and then some of the other ones, like Scotty Scheffler, looks a little bit strange, but he looks a little strange in real life as well, so I don't know. But overall, I think the graphics are great. In the caddy state, when you're looking over the horizon, the courses just look like they have so much incredible detail. Now, I will say it comes at a little bit of a cost, because as beautiful as it is, everything seems like it's a bit static maybe. Like, you don't notice much movement while you're looking out there at the course, almost like it's been painted on there a bit. But once you're playing and moving through each hole, I find myself admiring the beauty of each course more than anything. Now, performance-wise, the dreaded talk about 30 FPS, I never thought from the get-go that this was going to be as big of an issue as some people. Like, some people were saying, like, 30 FPS, I'm never playing a video game with it. I'm like, I've played and loved some games with 30 FPS on this generation. Like, A Plague Tale Requiem was 30 FPS, and that's genuinely one of my favorite games on PS5 or Xbox Series X. Like, it's so good, man. It's a wonderful game, and I wouldn't, like, deny myself that experience just because it was in 30 FPS. But yeah, it's definitely noticeable in certain scenarios. Like, I think a 60 FPS patch is on the way, and that will be awesome, and it'll give people the option to do what they want to do with regards to a performance mode, which is great. Probably should have been here at launch, but I mean, whatever, it's coming, and we'll see it hopefully within the next few weeks or so. I'm not sure exactly on a time frame for 60 FPS, but it's coming. Now, let's talk about the music real quick, because I did want to say that the menu music in this game is absolutely bopping, and the in-game music is great too. So overall, I just find myself jamming to the music, but unfortunately, I do have to turn it off for streams and videos due to copyright reasons. I thought I was going to be safe, but I got like 6 different copyright strikes on my stream. I had to end up turning it off for future videos and streams, unfortunately. So overall, my summary is we now have 2 great golf games that do things differently. People are no doubt going to ask me which is better, 2K or EA. Which one should I buy, EA or 2K? And I don't really have an answer for you on that. It's all down to what you're looking for. If you're looking for a great single player experience and a secondary online experience that can still scratch that itch, EA does that for you. And if you're looking for the opposite, you're looking for a primarily online experience with competitive playlists and community and single player as a secondary experience, I think 2K is for you. Both games are challenging in different ways, and I personally enjoy them both a lot. 2K will have me raging because I can't figure my tempo out like golf will do to you in real life, but EA will have me thinking and questioning if I made the right choice on that shot or what I could have done differently like Real Golf 2. The great thing is we have competition in the golf space and we're eating good. I'm hoping they drive each other to be better and we continue to get 2 golf games going forward, battling it out and making each other better. And I hope as well that we can just be civil about this. Like, I don't get the whole thing where like you're going to bat for one of these companies and you're like, oh, you're going on Twitter and like telling everyone that will fucking listen that EA sucks and 2K sucks. Like, dude, I promise you no one wants to hear you screaming that shit from the rooftops. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, just play the one that you enjoy more and let people decide which one they want to play and enjoy more. Like, that's the thing. Like, you can just enjoy both of them as well if you want to. I don't get this whole like fanboyism. It's so strange. It's like the same thing as this PlayStation versus Xbox thing that I see on Twitter constantly nowadays. Like, people feel like they have to go to bat for these billion-dollar companies, and I don't understand it at all. I promise you it's all going to be okay if you don't like one of these games. You don't have to like go into a mental mental breakdown on Twitter about it. I mean, it's going to be okay. Take a seat, enjoy Masters weekend, and have some fun. I really appreciate you all watching this video, and I love you all for the support that we've got, especially this past week. It's been absolutely incredible. The EA Sports PGA Tour career mode videos are killing it, and yeah, I'm planning a lot more content on the way as well. I'll probably be streaming 2K maybe tomorrow because I want to do my TGC Tour rounds. So yeah, I'm gonna play both games. I'm gonna play and enjoy both games. I'll probably suck at 2K now because my tempo is gonna be way off and I'm gonna be 105% overswing. But what can you do, huh? That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Thanks for watching, guys. You can buy one of these shirts, link in the description. As I said, you can buy some Rogue Energy, you can become a member and support the channel. Do whatever you want, honestly. Keep your money if you want. It's all good. Appreciate the support. Love you all. It's been my pleasure to serve you, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review and it kind of gave you some clarity on some of the questions that you were wondering on the game. Of course, you can ask me any questions down in the comments down below, and I'll try and answer as many as I can. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. It's been my pleasure to serve you all. Peace out.